Moom Sauda. Summer is the sport. 1 week in all. Moom Sauda. Summer is the sport. 1 week in all win it by unlocking summer with Vodapay. Take Rajesh. Mrajaja. Pure composer as he gets 70% off his holiday shopping.
I am such a champ right now.
Tama, #1 groovist, posting YouTube shorts for 31 Saturdays. Born a content queen. Now that's what you call stamina. Nomsa, social media champ, aka Siacheta anytime to mom, unlocking data and airtime to organize a summer get together. This summer, we are not just players. We are all champions. Unlock your summer with Vodapay and get your share of 500.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well this Wednesday morning. I hope everyone is as energized as I am. As you have seen today, we have quite a short program that is lined up for today. That is because we are having Spirit Day, which Shabs has also talked about yesterday. So I'd like to ask for apologies from our guest speaker who was supposed to join us this morning. He's not able to join us today due to unforeseen challenges. However, I would like to use this opportunity to just talk about the programs that we have in the emerging talent space. So by quick of introduction, I am Mbasi Muchela. I'm the one who has actually been communicating with you guys throughout the week, actually throughout from the start of the program. And yeah, so I'll be taking you guys through the programs that we have. So before we get into it, firstly, I'd like to congratulate everyone who is here today. Being part of our graduate program is a massive achievement. We are delighted to have so many young people participating in our Vodacom's Early Careers program and to have them successfully complete the programs that we have. Let's have a brief look at youth development in South Africa and how we as Vodacom contribute to the development of our youth. So I think let's first acknowledge the unemployed youth in South Africa as a huge concern. We all know that this is a big concern, and it is actually quite critical for employment sector in South Africa to play their part to develop our youth through pre-employment programs such as internships, learnerships, and bursaries. Through these structured programs, the employment sector will promote workplace experience and job opportunities for our youth. Vodacom has been instrumental over the last few years in providing workplace experience for unemployed youth and in turn creating a skilled talent pipeline for Vodacom. During the last financial year, Vodacom has awarded academic merit bursaries worth 12 million and invested more than 18 million in the development of Black youth with disabilities. Some of these employment programs that we are very proud of includes the Vodacom internship. And I know some of you on this call have actually been participants of this program. So this internship program has attracted talented graduates over the years who have been absorbed into business or into external job markets. Then we have our learnership program, which has provided work-integrated learning opportunities for people living with disabilities, where the learners would obtain a CETA-accredited qualification while obtaining work experience. We have our external bursary program, whereby the objective of this program is to assist students who may lack the necessary resources to study further and who have achieved outstanding academic results, but is unable to study further. The students are defined based on our own skills requirement, or rather, let me say shortages, and form part of Vodacom's talent pipeline to be absorbed into the graduate or internship program. We are also very proud of our bursary program, Ring Fence for people living with disabilities. This program is specifically exclusive for our PWD students, and after the program completion, integrating these students into the workplace. We also have the Discover Graduate Program, which is the reason why you're here today. This is Vodafone's flagship youth program, which has developed talent youth since its inception in 2015, and it has been rewarding to see careers growing into senior positions inside and outside of Vodacom. I'm also proud to just mention that I was also in the graduate program. I actually joined the graduate program in 2018, and I can confidently say this is a really good way to start your career. And lastly, we have a program that is called Code Like a Girl. This program has gained so much momentum over the last few years, where high school girls are taken through a week's training of coding principles and tasked to develop a website. It has been amazing to see how this young talent can code and create amazing websites. It's really amazing. And I think some of you guys have actually been on this platform and actually has assisted us with facilitating this Code Like a Girl program. The HR youth program space is in Vodacom is a key pillar in supporting South Africa's strategy to make people employable for the world of work. The learning journey continues, and let's take full advantage of any opportunity that comes our way. I really encourage every one of you to learn as much as you can and grab these opportunities with both hands. So moving on, so that is why we also have the CSI component. So I received a lot of emails or a lot of queries to ask what exactly is this CSI. So basically CSI stands for Corporate Social Investment. So corporate social investment basically refers to company investment in social development through the provision of cash, services, products, staff time, and so on. Basically, the aim of CSI is to improve the lives of disadvantaged people across multiple development sectors. It is external to the core function of a business and is therefore not undertaken to pursue revenue, although there are other benefits to the business. Some people may ask, how does CSI really differ from CSR? So CSR and CSI are often used interchangeably. However, we can define CSR as an overarching value-based framework that encompasses all social aspects of business operations, ensuring that a company manufactures its products and conducts its business responsibly and ethically. This is also part of ethics that Pindi spoke about on Monday. CSI forms part of CSR, however, referring to a company's financial and non-contributions beyond its commercial operations to disadvantaged communities and individuals for the purpose of social upliftment and welfare. CSI tends to have more strategic focus and emphasizes partnership to achieve specific measurable outcomes and benefit society. It is also mandated by law in terms of code of good practice. So what we have done in the past is that we have partnered with our foundation area, whereby our grads have a particular segment in the graduate program to take part in CSI. So it is mandatory that as a graduate program, we also take part in this. We have a list of approved non-profit organizations, which we call NPOs in short, from our foundation that we share with our grads. And each group, so there's 30 of us. Tomorrow you will be divided in groups. So each group will then get an opportunity to select the specific NPO which you would like to operate with. It will be expected to find the gaps. So you will need to get in touch with the particular NPO that you have selected, find out what the gaps are or the problems that they might be experiencing, and then you as a group can choose how to close that gap or find solutions to the problem that the particular NPO is experiencing. I think let me ask the team to play us a video of what our previous groups have done in the past year so that you can have an idea of what this really looks like and what more so will be required from the group. So let's play the video so that we can have a more understanding on this.
The The Discover Graduate program is a full-rounded program that looks at placing graduates within Vodacom's working environment. They receive skills training, they receive coaching and mentorship for 2 years while enjoying a full salary and the benefits of being a full-time employee at Vodacom. So we as Vodacom Foundation asked ourselves, how do we get our future leaders involved in a virtual volunteering space? And we came up with a solution where we had skills-based volunteering initiative that we introduced to the graduates. With the onset of COVID, we decided to go the virtual volunteering route, and we sat down with For Good, brainstormed a bit, and came up with the concept of the NPO Business Challenge. With that being said, we looked at how these graduates could donate their skills in order to find solutions for NPOs. The impact of the program saw 79 graduates participating in a 6-month period in order to find the solutions that needed to be put in place for the problems of the NPOs. It resulted in a live virtual event where graduates presented their solutions to a panel of judges and the NPOs. Not only did we find innovative solutions for the NPO, and it showed the true quality of the graduate profile that we have working at Vodacom. Once these solutions were found, we decided to donate funds to all the NPOs that had participated so they were able to implement those solutions that the graduates had found for them. The winning solution was an amazing app created by these graduates for Rise Against Hunger.
Rise Against Hunger Africa primarily distributes nutritious meals to early childhood development centers. We focus on feeding children between the ages of 1 and 6. This is a very critical time during their developmental years to receive the correct nutrition. We also focus on linking good nutrition with good education. Our goal is to create a Southern Africa without hunger. One of our biggest challenges when it comes to distributing meals to over 320 early childhood development centers is capturing the beneficiary data and our monitoring and evaluation records. Each ECD requires an immense amount of paperwork. The huge challenge comes in carrying these files, up to 10 a day, to every ECD. The NPO Business Challenge offered us the opportunity to put forward one of our biggest challenges that we experience on a day-to-day basis. The Vodacom graduates worked together to find an innovative solution for our cause by developing an app. Thanks to the Vodacom business graduates, we now have an innovative app which will assist us in reporting and monitoring of all our early childhood development centers, something which we just haven't had before. This will include the number of children at each facility, the number of meals we deliver, and also track the progress which the early childhood development centre is making due to the savings that is created by the donated meals. This will also eliminate a lot of human error and make it a lot easier for us to capture this data and be able to report and record this information to our donors.
Wow. So that is the CSI NPO challenge in summary. I'm not sure if we have any comments or any questions coming from the audience today, but yeah, I would really like to encourage you to post any comments or any questions that we have. It has really been wonderful to see how we have grown in terms of how we do the NPO Business Challenge, because I myself remember when I was part of the graduate program, we had a particular NPO that we worked with that is based here in Midrand. But what most of our groups used to do is we would find the sort of the challenge or the problem that the particular NPO has, and the solution would always be to raise funds or to donate, whereby now what we do is our solutions are more skilled based, which I find quite, I mean, it gives a whole lot of change, and it really impacts lives, because then it's something that's truly sustainable, and it really does change lives of the people who benefit from these NPOs. So I'm not sure if there are any comments or any questions from the audience regarding the business challenge. What do you guys think? Yeah, it would be lovely to know what's going through your minds right now. Okay, so I see we don't have any questions at the moment. Yeah, but then I see there's a comment where someone says, brilliant app, innovative, saving time and money. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. So that is something that we would like to see this year. We just want to see those creative ideas. What more can we do? How can we impact lives? Yeah, so that is, for me, that is the exciting part of the graduate program. With that being said, if there are no other comments, I would just like to remind everyone that we have the photo booth section. Please show us what you look like today. How are you celebrating Spirit Day? Let's see those pictures in the photo booth. We also have a couple of games that are, when you just click on the platform, you will see that we have 3 games. Yeah, let's participate in the games, and maybe by the end of today we can pick a winner for each game. We don't know. Let's see. So while we wait for Derek Brown, who will be taking us through the next segment, which is regarding the cellular benefits, let's just take a quick short break, and then we will return at 9:30. Thanks, everyone.
Mpasi. Sorry to disturb you, Mpasi. Your
Derek
audio.
Brown,
Mpasi, can you hear me?
let's welcome you on stage.
Okay, Mpasi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Would
Am
you
I
mind
audible
just
on?
reintroducing Derek again? Your audio completely cut off.
Okay, no worries. Thanks, Shweta. I hope that I'm clearly audible right now. I know a lot of us have been eyeing that iPhone 14 Pro Max. So we have Derek who's joining us today, who will be telling us about the benefits that we have regarding our cell phones. Let's welcome Derek on stage without using any more of your time. Morning, Derek.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, I'm Derek Brown. I have my colleague, Tia Clow, with me, and I'll be taking you through the staff cellular benefit, the pros and cons, how to best structure, and how to best make a selection based on financial impact to you. Yeah. So as the animated video displayed, Vodacom gives all employees two cellular benefits, right? We have the company SIM and we have the private SIM. So I'm going to cover the company SIM, and once I'm done, I'm going to give you the opportunity to pose questions to myself. You can also type out questions on the side, and Tia will assist in answering them to the best of his ability. But yeah, so let's get into the company SIM. So as a permanent Vodacom employee, you receive a company SIM, that is the primary business um, working tool, right? This is assigned to you as a fringe benefit. So we have to understand what fringe benefit is in relation to your remuneration package, the agreements that Vodacom has with SARS on how we issue fringe benefits and the governances thereof. Okay, so Vodacom gives all employees on your band. So you are the graduates incoming, so you should be on bands GH and I. They provide you with an allowance of 862 Rand 50, including VAT. It's actually 750 ex VAT, but 862.50 is the value of what we pay towards the subscription of the deal, right? I just want to clarify with regards to the financing of hardware, how that filters in before I get a little bit deeper into the company sim. So the 862.50 can only cover the maximum value of your subscription. If your subscription exceeds the 862.50, you'll be liable for that balance, right? The allowance will never cover the finance portion of the deal should you acquire a deal with finance. So this is how it works, right? So all deals has two components to it. You have the finance and you have the subs. Your allowance pays for subs. So when you're interacting with Tia and you say, I saw a deal on a red extra small and it comes with an iPhone 14 and total spend is just below the 862.50, I need you to pay attention to what the subscription portion is because that's what your allowance will cover, right? So if you're going for extra small iPhone 14, the subscription is actually like 150 Rand. So your liability would be the remainder, right? And the balance of your allowance will remain available to you for use in purchasing additional subscribed services like vases, etc., etc. But it will never carry over to carry the finance portion of the hardware. So, with the structure of the deals, right, each tariff package actually pays a value towards a device. But with the increasing costs of the flagship and high end smart devices, the value the tariff package pays towards a device doesn't cover the cost of the device fully. So, an example of that is if you take the rate 10 gig, 200 minutes, and this isn't an accurate figure, and the tariff pays 7,000 towards a device, and you're taking iPhone 14, and the cost of the iPhone 14 is like 28,000, right? So the 7,000 is subtracted from that 28,000. That means you have liability of like 21,000, and that is amortized over 24 months, and that becomes the finance portion of the deal. So we do pay for the device. However, the price of the device exceeds. And as per the agreement that Vodacom has with SARS, is that over and above the subscribed value, because selling devices isn't core business, we sell air and subs, right? And data. So that excess that is associated with the deal after the tariff pays for the device becomes your liability. I just needed to clarify that because a lot of people go in store and they get a deal with a very low tariff package, and it comes in just under the allowance, and they think that they're fully covered based on the allowance, but the structure and limitations and restrictions associated with how we apply the allowance in relation to our agreements with SARS, in relation with the governing uh, internal governance and policies, we will never pay any allowance towards the access or the finance portion of your deal. Okay, so your allowance is 862.50. So I always give the advice that you capitalize and stretch your allowance to the highest possible tariff package that is within that cost. And even if you can exceed it by like 100 Rand, what happens is the value the tariff pays for device increases. That means the finance portion is decreased, because now you have a higher tariff, it pays more for a device, and your finance is reduced because the price of the device remains constant. The only fluctuation in that costing analysis would be what the tariff package pays towards a device. Okay. So Tia will expand on it when he interacts with you. I think he has already reached out and spoken to a number of you, trying to clarify how the full component or how the full structure is set up on the company sim. Okay, so that's my recommendation and advice to you when you do review the options available to you for the company sim. All right. So, in addition to the 862.50 allowance, Vodacom provides you as a permanent employee with an additional 20 gigs of data. So, if you are on a red 10, 200 minutes, that means we give you an additional 20 gigs. That means on a monthly basis, you're going to receive 30 gigs of data from Vodacom. On top of that, we also provide you with an additional 1,000 voice minutes. So, every month, it's red 10, 200 minutes. You have 200 minutes for voice and air. So we add 1,000. That means you'll have 1,200 minutes on a month-to-month basis to utilize. And the data and the voice isn't restricted to Vodacom use only. So it's for your personal use as well, because it's your primary device. And we encourage you to use your primary device, especially when you're sharing numbers with clients, with colleagues, and internally. Okay, so that will give you 30 gigs of data on a rate 10 200 and 1,200 voice minutes. So obviously it will fluctuate according to the tariff package that you select when you finalize your application with TIA. Cool. Then in addition to that, we link a multi-data SIM to your company SIM. So you should have received 2 SIM cards from IT. One you would provide us with as the voice, and the other you would indicate it as the data SIM. So the data SIM operates on a corporate APN, right? For your level of employment, you receive the Corp 456. This APN gives you access to all internal Vodacom resources. That means that everything work related on your PC will feed from the APN. Okay. If you do utilize services that exist outside of the APN structure, like maybe you're streaming movies from Netflix, or you're doing Google downloads or downloading any large files, that traffic is actually directed back to the data on your voice line. So when you're doing anything personal that doesn't fit within that APN, it feeds from your, say you have read 10, 200 minutes, from the 10 and the 20 gigs that was issued to you. So be extremely cautious on when you're transacting on your laptop and here you try to do Netflix and it's streaming and you think, oh, great, I'm streaming Netflix. So the APN must be catering for it. Unfortunately, not. The technology is so advanced that you can identify and recognize and stream the data usage via the available avenues, right? So this is how an APN works. An APN is a doorway into the World Wide Web. Into the World Wide Web, that means this is the World Wide Web. This is Vodacom's APN. In that APN, we have ring-fenced a number of internal services that resides within the World Wide Web. So this is your door and your key into World Wide Web. If you're utilizing regular data and you're streaming, it uses another door. That door is a buildable door, and it gives you access to the full World Wide Web. All right. So I just need to clarify that one. Okay. So a lot of people pose the questions to us as to how to identify which SIM is which. You don't have to identify anything. You select which SIM of the two you would want to have activated as your voice SIM and the other one as your data SIM. So whatever you select for usage on voice or data, you can populate it in that mail when you respond to Tia and just say, I'll use this one for voice and I'll use this one for data. All right. So you aren't obligated or forced under no circumstances to acquire a new Vodacom number. Should you have an existing number with Vodacom, whether it's on prepaid or contract, we do provide you with the option to transfer in that number, right? Transfer is Vodacom to Vodacom. So if it resides on prepaid, we can do the prepaid to contract activation same day. If it's on contract, there might be a possibility that your contract number resides on the individual platform, which doesn't form part of the corporate solutions on the mainframe or the systems that manages sponsorships. So what Tia will do is he will have to log a call in order for ISD to do a reverse migration into legacy, and there's usually a waiting period of up to 7 days for that reverse migration to take place. So please bear with us. We will not make you wait for something that can be resolved, amicably in the least amount of time. So that's transferring, right? You do have the option to transfer in existing numbers. Then you can also port in existing numbers, all right? Porting means that you have a contract or a prepaid SIM with another network or another service provider, and you wish to retain that number as your primary number on your company SIM. So there's also two factors to consider with porting in numbers. Porting to prepaid, Tia will generate a PIN. He will send it to your number. You will respond to Tia by providing him with that PIN, and he will complete the porting with the current hosting network or service provider. Thereafter, confirm. While porting, your number will not, your activation on or activities on your number won't cease. That means your device will be working throughout the day. The porting process will take place during 10 o'clock at night and midnight, right? you're still awake, you'll see that say you're on MTN. The MTN SIM will say no service, no signal. That will be your cue to utilize the Vodacom SIM. So only then do you insert your Vodacom SIM, and you'll be on the Vodacom network under your staff company benefit. Okay, that's on the prepaid process. For contract port-ins, I need to bring to your attention that should your number with the current network or service provider still be within the terms of that contract, they will generate a premature cancellation quote, and they will send it to you via SMS. When you accept that quote, they will release the number to us, and the same rule of porting will happen between 10 and midnight. Okay, so that's the company SIM portion, right? If there's any questions on the company SIM or any gray areas that you're struggling to understand, can we go into like a short question and answer so that I could just get the feel and try to get clarification for you where required. Cool. Shweta, can we see if anyone has questions? Yeah, so if you want to transfer an existing number, remember there's two criteria. And when IT issues you with a laptop, by default, my instruction is for them to provide you with the two SIM cards. For one, why you would need the SIM cards is that, remember, we're only transferring in voice. You will still need a data SIM. So it's best just collect two. I told them that regardless of what the employee's requirement is, everyone gets two SIMs. Okay, so they will give you two SIMs, but you will only respond with one as your data SIM. The other one, hold on to it because you can use that on the private SIM, which after this answer and question session, I will get into the private SIM. But yes, please collect the SIM cards. Any other questions? So voice and data, one SIM. Obviously, voice and data is combined on your cell number, right? So you have both voice and data available to you upon activation, and that's based on the tariff package that you selected. So if you went for Red 10, 200 minutes, that means you're going to have 10 gigs of data on your phone and 200 voice minutes plus the 20 gigs of data. That's 30 gigs of data plus the 1,000 minutes plus the 200. That will give you 1,002. So it's available on both your mobile device as well as your laptop. The laptop will only cater for the data usage though, right? Because the laptop has inhibitors that prevents you from moving over into the voice sphere. And you'll have Teams and Edge and all of these resources available to you for internal communication or meetings, via your laptop. Next question, please. So, yeah, I think I just skipped that one. You are under no obligation. There's no force or there's no timeline for you instituted for you to get hardware. Hardware you get at your discretion, right? In addition to that, I wouldn't recommend taking a SIM only or one of those deals that is set up for a 24-month term. What I would recommend is make a selection with TIA. Once TIA has activated your number, then you will make the decision, do I go to staff upgrades to get the device or am I cool with my device? The upgrade option will never expire. So if your current device is working fine for you I think hold on to that, avert having additional costs added to your monthly bill, and work with what you have, right? The option to upgrade stays available. If you do have an emergency where your device is giving you issues, then just go to staff upgrades or send them an email, and you can get the device at any time. The important thing from a staff cellular perspective is to have you up and activated, that your SIM cards are active, that the APN is active, and that you have connectivity to operate wherever you are remotely, since we're still working under the hybrid model. All right. So the primary cover for the allowance would be obviously the subscriptions, right? There's two type of content subscriptions, right? So I know what a lot of people do is on their Google billing portion, they list their Vodacom account as the primary payment method, right? And then you set up a secondary payment method. I would like to bring to your attention that based on new rules from IT billing, those subscribed services, because it doesn't serve Vodacom, is excluded from the assignment of the allowance. So remember, this is a work tool in essence as well. If it's not if it's not if it's not enabling you to do your job better, and there's external third party applications that you subscribe to that doesn't relate to um, anything related to your job, you will carry liability for those. All right. I hope that clarifies it. All right. So, myself and Pasi and Philip, we had that conversation. So what happens is the current SIM cards, Philip will do an audit and we will delete those. So the intern SIMs will no longer be available for you to use come end of the month, right? So, and that is the reason why I encourage everyone to get the SIMs from IT and get them activated, because you're operating on a different platform now, right? In the intern program, you're working on the resources provided to you was based on an internal sponsorship from a division that was paying for that resource. Once your employment as an intern is completed, and you're moving over to the grad, or you're moving into the business as a permanent employee, that resource is stopped, and that SIM cards will be deleted. All right. All right. So the company SIM, because remember, it's classified as a tool of communication. That means voice takes priority, right? So you won't get any laptop and tablet deals that comes with voice as the primary tariff or primary on the tariff. So you are limited with regards to acquiring tablets and laptops on your company SIM. However, on the private SIM, you know, I think it's just a way different setup. But company SIM, when you do acquire hardware and you do the device upgrade with staff upgrades, it is by default stated that you will get a handheld mobile device as opposed to a primary data driven device that would be tablets and laptops. So yeah, you need to get a phone if you want a phone. We're not saying get a phone, but that's just the rule around acquiring hardware. Okay. So I had a meeting with Desigan up in Joburg, IT, right? Because I provide them with SIMs for him to distribute to all the regions. If you can just contact Sia with regards to who the contact person is, because I know there was a slight delay with Cape Town because they ran out of SIM cards. So they just received SIM cards, I think, the end of last week or Monday, Tuesday this week. But just reach out to Tia and he will give you the name of the person you need to contact with regards to acquiring SIM cards in Cape Town. Cool. So all values exceeding the allowance becomes your responsibility, right? So if you're depleting data and you're purchasing additional bundles or you're doing data sharing, anything pertaining to exceeding the allowance becomes your responsibility. So my best advice is, like, especially with data, utilize your APN for work and ensure that the APN is set up correctly on your laptop. Um, I actually never run out of data on my phone, or it's just how you manage your data traffic and how you avert incurring all of that additional costs by additional purchases of data or voice bundles in that regard. So yes, so when you do buy bundles and it exceeds the allowance allocation, you will be liable. But if your subscription is low and it's not utilizing the full value of the allowance, it will pay up to the maximum value of the allowance, which would be the 862.50. Anything over that value is your responsibility. Cool. So in that case, Sia will verify and he will complete the port on our side, right? So you don't do it via Vodacom World. Please manage everything via TIA with regards to some activations, inquiries for ports, etc., etc. You don't have to go to Vodacom shops to do the ports. Um, TIA has the systems and the knowledge and capability to do the ports from start to end. So just communicate to TIA that the port was approved, then he can probably complete that port over to the SIM card that you provided in your response to us. So the trade-in option will be available in store, right? So remember, Staff Cellular's primary output is getting your SIM cards activated. So when you firstly send an email to staffupgrades@vodacom.co.za, they will have a consultant contact you to assist you and give you the best guidance with regards to how to optimize on your benefit. They would also be able to cater to your request for the trade-ins, because remember that's a store-based initiative. So they would be best suited to provide you with what what their rules are around trade-ins when upgrading. Cool. Yes. So remember, the laptop is utilizing primarily the corporate APN, right? So the corporate APN is what gives you access to your work resources. Okay. But if you're utilizing services on your work laptop via the data sim that doesn't form part of the corporate APN ring-fenced applications, it might be blocked on your laptop as well, right? So if you're doing downloads or streaming services on your laptop, um, and you're under the perception that the APN will cover it, unfortunately not. Right? That's the analogy I made with the two doors in the World Wide Web, and what gives you access to what. But from a work perspective, you should be able to function optimally um, via the data sim in your laptop. Okay, so I think let's move on to the private sim. Let's unpack that. The private sim is extremely flexible and accessible, for your use. So the private sim is an additional resource issued to you by Vodacom under your own name, under your own credit scoring portfolio, which, in the past we said it's the spouse sim, we said it's the second sim, we said it's, but it's your private sim. So this is a resource that I wouldn't say use as a gift for someone else, but this is a resource that you would give to someone in your life, for them to use. That's why it used to be the spouse sim, because married people would usually give it to their partners. But historically, people has used it for a number of other things. I know um, people have done it for their home alarm systems. They've done it for personal tracking purposes. So there's no real confinement with regards to the private SIM, right? The private SIM allowance across the board for all levels of employees is 460 Rand on GSM services. Then we included a fixed fiber allowance to the maximum value of 150 Rand. Okay. So the GSM, you can utilize at your discretion. I know you all are young. Please, historically, and I think Mpasi can vouch for this. Um, when you blessing someone with a resource that carries financial responsibilities, make sure you're selecting the right people. You know, a lot of people are in relationships and they give it to to the partner they in the relationship with, and you can't predict what happens in the future, and then you have like issues with regards to trying to cancel what you blessed someone with and trying to get them to stop using, and you get pushback, and then there's a there's a freeze with regards to swapping and canceling numbers while within the term of the contract. Please pay special attention, or really, if you're getting GSM, give it to someone that stays or that's constant in your life. Give it to your mother and your father, you know, as opposed to um, just a boyfriend or girlfriend. All right. So please be cautious with the GSM on the private SIM. Then on the fiber side, that's a fixed service. That means there's an installation process in a residence. So it's not a mobile cellular service, it's fixed fiber, right? So you would usually have it installed in your place of residence. And yeah, it carries an allowance of 460. Okay. On GSM, there's no limitation or restriction or default device as with the company SIM, where it has to be a handheld mobile device. A GSM upgrade, you can get laptop, tablet on a data package at your discretion. Okay. Now remember, I said there's two allowances. There's 460 for GSM, and there's 150 for fixed fiber. Right? GSM is your cellular service. Fixed is your fiber services, right? Should you acquire GSM only? You're only taking a cellular contract for a handset or device. You will not qualify for the 150. The 150 agreement with SARS is that 150 is assigned exclusively and only for fixed or fiber deals acquired by an employee. So you don't have flexibility with regards to that 150. That 150 falls away if you're only taking GSM. All right. If you have a combination of GSM and fiber, it's quite obvious that you will get the 460 for GSM and the 150 for fiber. But if your subscription on the GSM side is lower than the 460, so maybe you're taking smart access with the device. Remember, you're still going to carry the finance portion, right? But you're taking a extra small flexi. Subscription is 150 Rand. You have a balance there of like, what's it, 210 Rand. That 210 Rand will move over to cover the subscription on your fiber. So you take 210 plus 150 there you have 460 to cover fiber. All right. So again, on the GSM side, GSM works just in the same manner as the company SIM. The tariff package pays for subscriptions. When you acquire hardware, the finance portion will be your responsibility. Okay. Now we move over to fiber. If you're acquiring fiber only, you don't want GSM services, you just want fiber, what we'll do is we'll combine the two allowances of 460 and 110 and assign the full value to your fiber deal. That will be a maximum allowance of 610 Rand against your fiber deal, right? The reason for this is that in relation to the agreement with SARS, it's extremely flexible on the GSM side, on the private SIM, because of the assigned purpose, right? So it can be used for voice data only, for fixed. So it's extremely flexible, and that's why it can move over, as opposed to the fiber 150, that is fixed for fiber only. GSM, flexible. You can do with it as you please. Fiber, fixed only on fiber. Okay. So if you do GSM on the private SIM as well, you do have the option to transfer in numbers. The same process as with the company SIM will apply. Prepaid, immediate prepaid to contract activation, contract, 7 days waiting period for us to do the reverse migration to the legacy system, as well as porting, right? Same rule. Prepaid, you get the PIN, you submit the PIN, provide it to Tia. He will conclude the communication with the current service provider. And contract, of course, they will send you with the SMS on accepting the premature cancellation quote provided by them. All right. Now, the private SIM application process is not as straightforward as the company SIM, where I just need you to complete information in my initial email. On the private SIM, in my email, there's an attachment that says individual or private SIM application form. You're going to complete that form. You're going to send it through to the ladies that I have listed under the private SIM section of my email for them to create the K account, right? So the K account is your sponsored account. Once they created that K account, you have two options. First option is to click on the link in my mail that will take you through to Workflow. On Workflow, you will scroll down and look for private SIM application and submit that application form. That comes through to our team. We process and activate the GSM side, right? Then, if you want to acquire fiber, maybe you want to add fiber with the GSM, then you're going to call 082 1904 for your fiber application. So they manage fiber exclusively for staff. There's no other resource. My team can't sign you up for fiber. So once you have your K account, you're going to call 0821904 to acquire fiber and have that activated. If you're doing both, then you will do workflow and call 1904. If you're doing GSM only, then you will only do the workflow application. If you're doing fiber only, you're going to call 0821904. Okay? And that's the benefit on the private SIM side. You know, I'm going to give you the opportunity now to pose any questions or gray areas that you need clarification on. Thank you. On the private SIM, it does, because remember, we vet you in your personal capacity, so you don't carry the vetting score of Vodacom. So the company SIM carries Vodacom's vetting score. That's why you'll see on your invoices, it carries the Vodacom address and the Vodacom classification. But on the private SIM, it's in your personal capacity. You will be impacted with regards to payments and all of that, but all of that is dealt with by credit and risk. If you do have any issues from a credit and risk perspective, the internal contact person in credit and risk would be for staff exclusively is Rina Brits. um, so if your accounts go into default or your debit order bounced, the best person before sending an email to Tia or the myconnect at vodacom.co.za SRM workflow, contact Rina to see how she can fix the bounce debit order or make an arrangement to have alternative banking details loaded to your accounts. All right. But yes, the private SIM will impact your credit rating and your credit score. So, part one of your question, if you haven't initiated or haven't liaised with SIA with regards to getting your SIMs activated, then it's highly unlikely that anything would have been triggered by us, right? So, if you can confirm that you did trigger and SIA is busy liaising with you to get the SIM cards activated, um, because even when you're doing a transfer or from prepaid or contract, we won't do a SIM swap unless you require a SIM swap, right? On porting, by default, it wouldn't be a SIM swap. It would be like a new activation on our system to the new SIM cards issued to you by Vodacom. What I would recommend you do to resolve the issue of that SIM card, just review the mail and whether you've interacted with Tia at this stage, and whether you've given him any instruction to do anything mm, on your personal line, to have it moved over to your company benefits. All right. So we wouldn't just trigger a SIM swap without due cause or without communicating that information to you. So please reach out to Tia to get that matter actually addressed and reviewed and resolved. All right. Yes. So as with all device upgrades, the benefit doesn't expire, right? So there's no shelf life with regards to you acquiring hardware on the company SIM or hardware on the private SIM. It remains open and available to you. So, if fiber is not yet available, when it does become available, I know what I done because I was waiting for my area to get fiber installed. Um, I was tracking it on the Vodacom website, right? You must also just be aware that um, with fiber, it's dependent on the agreements Vodacom has with either the infrastructure owners, because we don't own all the infrastructure for fiber, right? You have OpenServe, you have Vumatel, you have dark fiber. So there's a number of hardware owners or owners of the bandwidth in under the street that we would need to have an agreement with. So when you are reviewing and checking whether you can get Vodacom fiber, please know that it's best for you to first check the Vodacom coverage map on the Vodacom website, so that you don't acquire fiber and then it's all at your own expense because it's not covered by Vodacom, right? Your fiber portion as well cannot be covered under individual account. So if you have fiber currently, that fiber would need to be transferred into your K account in order for you to get the allowance applied. So just take note of that one as well. Um, Workflow on the 9th. I think there should have been communication back to you with regards to anything pertaining to transferring in numbers or submission of port. I will just review workflow and see what's outstanding. Then I will address it and ensure that you get the response that you need to have that application completed and resolved. Any other questions? So, as I pointed out with the previous question, there's variants that may impact the activation. So, in instances where there's transferring of numbers, where there's sports, there would be a delay. But if you're requesting the activation of a new MSISDN, waiting period should be like 1 day. So if everything is confirmed, the following day it should be active. This month we had a delay in the creation of the accounts, unfortunately. So that might have been a contributing factor to that delay, which we humbly apologize for. But it should be concluded within before the end of this week. And I will send out communication to those people that has been impacted by submitting information and awaiting responses or awaiting confirmation of the activations. Cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if there's no more questions, I thank you very much. Please note that the best way to raise any issues with Staff Cellular is via the myconnect@vodacom.co.za email address. That gives the entire team access to assist and facilitate any requests and inquiries that you might have at the most convenient timeline, right? So the Staff Cellular SRM email is myconnect, myconnect @vodacom.co.za. And I thank all of y'all for your audience and listening to me. And hopefully, I'll see y'all on campus. My team is based in Service Park on the second floor in the Midrand campus on the West Wing. All right. So our door is always open. Should you have time to consult with us personally, please feel free to visit us if anything, and you're on campus or you around the area, and you need clarity on anything, just come see us, and we'll ensure that we give you the best service available and possible. Thank you. Over to you, Mpasi.
Wow, thanks, Derek. It's always a pleasure to see you. I'm quite confident that all the uncertainty and all the questions were well clarified and that we are all on the same page. So, just to reiterate what Derek said, if you have any further questions or anything like that, please kindly reach out to Tia, who will assist you. Thanks, Derek. Really appreciate taking the time of your day. With that said, let's have a break and then we will join in back at 11, whereby Tertia will be rejoining us again. She gave half of her presentation. Unfortunately, due to connectivity issues, she wasn't able to complete her presentation, which is quite critical information to have. So yeah, she will be joining us at 11. So let's meet back at 11. Not forgetting to post your pictures into the photo booth. It's always lovely to see what you all are up to. Let's all post our pictures down there. See you back at 11. Thanks, guys. Welcome back. Welcome back, everyone. Hope everyone was able to get their cup of tea or cup of coffee. I specifically have my cup of hot chocolate, benefits of being in the office. Yeah, show us what you are up to as we speak. What are you up to today? What are you doing for Spread Day? Let's see those pictures in the photo booth. We have Tertia in the studio, so let us welcome Tertia to continue on her presentation with regards to the employee benefits. Welcome, Tertia.
Thank you, Pasi. Do we have the slides up? If we may? Okay, all right. Thank you very much for giving me the time again. I hope we will not have any technical glitches. We're trying to get used to other systems other than what we used to in the office. But yeah, good morning. And as introduced myself on when we were trying to get started on Monday, my name is Tesha Ndlovu, and I'm in reward and benefits. And I think it will help you to have my email address. We do have a central email address, though, that goes to reward and benefits at vodacom.co.za. But yeah, we don't want a case where you get started and you don't know anyone to speak to in HR. So you're welcome to send me a Teams chat to say, hey, Tisha, I need help with this. I need help with the deductions on my payslip, or maybe, yeah, anything related to the pension fund, to the risk benefits. We can go to the next slide. And so I'll just go, we've got a short time, we've got 30 minutes. So I'm just going to summarize this. What we tried to do, because payroll is actually, it closed on the 7th, but we accommodated the last reports yesterday, where we understand that you didn't get to complete your onboarding forms. But what I'm covering now, it's exactly what was required on your onboarding forms. And we did complete the information on your behalf, because when it comes to onboarding forms, these selections are linked to SARS. So your first pay has to be reported to SARS that you are now permanently employed, and there's the tax that you're going to pay on the income that you'll be paid by Vodacom, plus income tax. SARS wants to know that we already said from your employment contract, it says that you do have a pension fund. You are contributing to risk benefits. Risk benefits meaning that the company has covered you, has given you insurance. So that has to be reported to SARS as well. And like I was trying to explain on Monday, that the information that I cover with the risk and retirement benefits, it's not just specific to Vodacom. This is how it means to be permanently employed. As long as you're going to be permanently employed during your career, you will always come across pension fund and risk benefits. When you join another company, they will tell you that we've put you on a pension fund, we've put you on risk benefits, and you need to understand how they work. So if you get it here, it will be applicable for the rest of your career. So the first option was to choose a pensionable salary. We've all defaulted due to 70% of pensionable salary. Pensionable salary, just a quick example is, let's say your you add your total cost to company says 1 million. Yeah, you'll get 1 million one day, one of these years in your career. Let's say they say your annual salary is 1 million. SARS wants to know the fixed portion of your salary. They want to know that the 1 million, we don't want to know additional benefits, other things that the employer actually adds on to in that million, or maybe leave days or any commission that makes up that 1 million. SARS wants to know the fixed portion. So the fixed portion, they'll say, okay, the fixed portion of this 1 million, it's 70%, meaning that SARS works on 700,000 of your total income in the year. Or if you choose 85%, then SARS will know that you're contributing based on 85% of your salary. So what it all means is, when we go to employer contribution, where we say you have those options from 7.5 up to 20%, it means that let's say you choose 10%, we add on the employee contribution of 7.5, then it's a, let's say a round figure of 12.5, then it's a total of 20%. So you are contributing 20% of 700,000 of your 1 million, or 20% of your 850,000 of your 1 million. So if someone is contributing 20% of 85%, that means that they're putting more towards their savings, and their take home is going to be less compared to someone who's contributing at 70%. At 70%, the take home will be a little bit more because you're contributing less. Just round figures. At 85%, one person is contributing 1,000 rand per month. At 70%, you're choosing to contribute 500 rands per month. So your take home will be more with 500 compared to the other person whose contribution is actually less by 500. They're not really losing that money. They're just putting a little bit more towards their savings. So we've defaulted all of you onto 70%. And 70%, you do have an option to change to 85%, but we want you to receive your first pay slip first and see whether you're comfortable with your take home, you're happy with it. Obviously, with some people, it will be like their first income. So you just need to like adjust and work around that first income and see what you can afford with that income. Then every February and August, we send out communication for people to change the option. So you can go now to 85%, where you say, you know what, I can afford to put a little bit more towards my pension, and then you will go to 85%. But we start you off with 70% just to see in the year whether you're comfortable with your income. If you can afford more, we'll take it up to 85%. Same with the option of 7.5 to 20%. We've started you off on 7.5, so the lowest contribution amount, so that you can have more take home and plan around your take home. Then later in August, where you feel that, you know what, I can afford to put a little bit more towards my savings, then you can put you can change it to 10% or 12.5 or 15%. So yeah, that is the jigs of the pension fund. And yes, some people think that, you know what, I'm too young to be talking pension fund. But if you just summarize life in general, I always say to younger people that you've got 30 years of 1 year to 30 years, they call it the education year. Then 30 years to 60 years of your life, it's your working life. Then 60 plus, that is retirement. So it's like just in 3 parts. Life is just in 3 parts. So you've got the education part, your working life, it's literally 30 years. So you've just started now, you've got about 30 years of working life. And some people might say, you know what, nope, I want to retire before, I just want to work for 20 years and I want to retire. Even if you say, hey, I want to retire, but after that 20 years, you still have to have some income. If you're running your own company, you'll still be working. So you still need to save for the ages of 70 years, 80 years. If you think that you will not get to your 70 years or your 80 years, then look at your parents. Your parents are around your 70s. Maybe some of your parents are still younger, but you don't want them to go. But they still, you want them to live up to the ages of 70, up until the ages of 80. But if they did not save for their retirement, then that's the sad reality that, you know what, they don't want to be there. They don't have an income. So, and there's no company that's willing to hire them unless someone is running their good company and they're receiving a good income from there, then all good. So first option, take the notes that you are on 70% pensionable salary and you are on 7.5 employer contribution. Let's go on to the next slide. So this part, I will not go too much into it, but this basically just says that our retirement savings, our pension fund is administered by Salam. So don't be surprised sometimes when you want to see your statement, we send you like Salam stuff. Deb Salam is our administrator. That's where you'll be able to view your pension fund. No company in South Africa in pension funds is allowed to actually manage their own pension funds. So there's no such thing that when Vodacom tomorrow something is going wrong and they have to close shop, then they say, you know what, before we do that, let's touch our employees' pension funds. They cannot touch your pension funds. Your pension funds are safe, and that's how they are regulated in South Africa. No company can touch your pension fund. It has to be administered by a separate company, an insurance company or investment management company that manages that. Then the insurance part of your benefits, that one is with Vodacom Life. Vodacom Life, like that's where we get to say, you know, Vodacom is not all about cell phones and network and technology only. We are a financial services company as well. So we do offer life cover benefits. We do offer disability cover benefits. And that's where we used to be with Hollard, we used to be with Discovery. But every year we review the rates and see that, you know what, if you're giving us high rates, then we look for somebody else that's going to give us cheaper rates. So that's how we moved from your Hollard to your Discoveries, your Liberties, and we ended up with our own Vodacom Life. So the way it works is your pension fund is your investment portion of benefits. Your risk benefits are your insurance part of your benefits. What you need to know is you don't want to put too much money in your insurance benefit, but also you don't want to be underinsured, you know? So let's say you have a car. With your car, you want a comprehensive cover. Should anything, you lose your car, you in an accident or anything like that, then you want a cover that's going to settle all that. So you don't want to like skimp on your insurance and say, you know what, I'm going to pay the cheapest insurance. The next thing you lose your car, they say, there's nothing that you can do. Or they don't even give you back the value of that car. They'll say, you know what, your car at that time is worth 100,000 and the insurance is paying you only 20,000. Then it was like, you know what, you're underinsured. You did not take enough insurance for your asset. So risk benefits, you need to structure them properly and say, you know what, I'm married, I've got children, so I need to take cover that will take into account that if I lose my spouse, it will pay me something. If anything happens to me, I want the education of the children's education to be paid for. So that's where insurance comes in. And that's where now you need to structure it properly to say, I'm not married, so why should I pay for a spouse's death benefit? So it's like now just paying for money that's just going into down the drain. So if you don't have children, you don't want to pay for children's education. Should anything happen to you, then it's like, you know what, there are no children to pay for that. So, but the package that we selected for you, it's package 4. I think if you can just move to the slides, I'll go to where we have the risk benefits table. I think it's page 15 of the slides, 15. Yeah, there. So package 1, it covers everything. Package 2, it's someone that's married, but they don't have children. So you don't have to pay for the education benefit. Package 3, you have a child, you have children, but you're not married. So you don't have to pay for spouse's death benefit. Package 4, you are single, you don't have any children. So for our grads, for the employees on this program, we've put you all on package 4. And because yesterday we had to close the payroll and we had to make a decision and say, okay, we assume that these people are not married. These people, they don't have children. And we apologize for the assumption. If you do have a child or children, or you are married, please take my email address. It's just tasha.ndlovu@vodacom.co.za, and I will change you to a package that is applicable to you. And note that package 4 is actually the cheapest package that one can have at Vodacom. The minute you change to another package, Yes, it will be extra. Just taking a little bit from your take home, it pays for other benefits. But if you do want to cover your family, you cannot say, you know what, I want more take home. I'm not going to cover these people. So it's important to still have proper cover, insurance cover, because yeah, I have an example of a young grad that we had in I think it was 2018, 2019, where they started, and like young people, you don't think that these things are going to happen to you now. And literally, the grad actually passed away. I think it was 3 months in the program working for Vodacom. So we were able to pay a life cover benefit to their parents. We're able to assist the parents with the funeral. So we need these things. We don't know when something like this is going to happen. So it's very important that you are covered properly. Also, the difference that I was explaining with pension fund and risk benefits as well is that your investment portion, if when you leave an employer, when you change jobs, you cash out the investment portion. Your risk benefits, you do not cash it out. It is only in an event of something happening. So if you did not have a disability, you did not have a critical illness, that did not happen, then that money is just down the drain. It's like an insurance for your car. If your car is not in an accident, same thing like a cell phone insurance. If your cell phone, you don't lose your cell phone, you don't lose your, it doesn't get damaged, you don't get to claim from that insurance. It's only in an event of something happening. So in that way, you need to structure it properly. You don't want to put too much money in the insurance where if nothing happens, then nothing pays out. But sadly, as young people, you're going to get a car. God forbid, you might be in an accident. You become disabled. Now you're not able to work. Now the employer cannot say, sorry, you were just here. I wanted you to work for me. If you're not able to work, there's nothing that I can do. Insurance benefits actually help in that way to say, you know what, they used to work for Vodacom. Vodacom is now paying them an income which is coming from the insurance benefit. And it doesn't matter when you start 1st of February, you are covered. So should anything happen between now and end of February, you are covered. If you, I just want to give an example, critical illness. Yes, critical illness covers your cancers, your strokes, your major illnesses, major critical illnesses. Should, God forbid, again, something like that happen and you have to claim, then you are covered. At least you are covered. So that is the gist of my presentation to cover risk benefits and pension. Then if you just move to the last slides again, to the funeral benefit, yes. So all employees are covered for 10,000. So anything happens today, they say an employee has passed away, we tell the family that we've got 10,000 cover to help with the funeral. But you do have an option to take a voluntary funeral benefit. And if you do want that benefit again, please send me an email. I'll send you the application forms for a voluntary funeral benefit. The voluntary funeral benefit, that's where you can cover now your parents. You can add your parents. You can add your parents-in-law if you're married. You can add your siblings as well. You can add your children. The 10,000 only covers employees, people that are working for Vodacom only, but only when you want to add other people, you can take additional voluntary funeral benefit. If you can go to the next slide. So you can add up to nine extended family members. And the people that you add, none of them should be over the age of 74. So if they're 74 this year, you can still add your grandparents as well. Basically just saying that should a grandparent pass away, then you have covered them, there will be some money, that funeral benefit, that will pay out to help you with the funeral. And it's up to 9 extended family members, uncles, siblings, grandparents, other people that you want to add there. You can add in there up to 9 of them. If you can go to the next slide, it will show you the benefits that are available. The next one. So these are the options that you have. So for your immediate family members, so you have an option of a member only, where you say over and above the 10,000, I want to take additional funeral benefit of 15,000 or 20,000 or 30,000. And that's where we'll tell a family that, okay, the person had the additional funeral benefit, the 10,000 plus the 30,000 option that they selected. It's a total of 40,000. Then these are the rates. If you take additional, it will be 18 rands 95. Or if you take option 4, then those are the, that is 9 rand 69. It's literally those rent and cents amount. Because in a funeral benefit, I know you go to your bank and you say you want a 50,000 funeral cover, and they tell you that it's 120 or 200 rands per month or 300 rands per month. But in a group scheme, because the benefit is costed as a group scheme, not as an individual, it becomes cheaper. So your 50,000 funeral benefit in a group scheme, there's a total of 5,000 plus employees that work for Vodacom on a permanent basis. So when we ask for a company to give us a quotation on a 50,000 funeral cover, they take into account there's 5,000 employees that can possibly contribute to this scheme. So they'll give us a rate of 16,000. But you as an individual, if you go outside and request a quotation on 50,000, you're probably going to pay like 250 or 300 rands for the same 50,000 benefit. So in a group scheme, the rates are cheaper compared to on an individual basis. So I still have like about 7 minutes. I can maybe it's literally my last slide. I think if you had someone from medical aid presenting as well, they've given you the different options on medical aid. Some of you coming off age on medical aid. So you need to sort out your own medical aid. The parents are saying, you know what, now you're working, get your own medical aid. So Alexander Forbes, they are our, if you can just go to the next slide, if I included that. Sorry, before I get to medical aid, extended family members. These are the options for extended family members. So if you want to add your sisters, your brothers, you'll put them on these options up to 30,000 or cover them 20,000. But for extended family members, it will be per member. So if you say 30,000 for 9 people, it will be 102.34 times 9. That will be deducted from your salary. Even with that, at 102 rands, it's actually way cheaper than what you will pay out there for the same cover of 30,000. So back onto the medical aid, and I can see there's a question there, but let me just go to finish the medical aid point again. Then the next slide, is it the last one? This one, the next one. Yes, Alexander Forbes, like Sanlam. Sanlam is for our pension fund. Alexander Forbes is they are for our medical aid. So they will help you if you want to, if you're transferring from your parents' medical aid, you want to go into one of the options that we have. Discovery is there, Bonitas is there. So the Genesis is also another option. So they will explain the different options. You can take it there. What you want to do with medical aid, you don't want to break cover. Medical aid, the way it works is if you're not covered for a long period, then they will add on penalties and waiting periods that, okay, you can join now, but there will be a waiting period. You cannot claim for the next 3 months or so. And then only when you finish the penalty, then you can start contributing. So you want to move direct from your parents' medical aid onto that one. But I'll leave that to if the facilitators can organize a consultant. Okay, if maybe they did not present, I'm not sure, Percy, but yes, you can send me an email. I'll send you our consultant in Vodacom that will help you with sorting out your medical aid. So if you can just go up in the last 4 minutes, let me just see the question up to, let me see the question. Hi, can you take me, oh, wait. Percy, do I have a question? On the packages, when it says 3 times pensionable salary, is that annual or monthly? It is annual. Good question. So when you say, please go to that table of risk benefits where it covers package 1, package 2, package 3, that table. Yes, here. So 3 times pensionable salary, it means that we will pay 3 times. Let's say from that 1 million that example that we had, 70%, it will pay 3 times 70% of the 1 million. So the total life cover that you have, it's 3 times 700,000. That is the total life cover that will be paid out to your beneficiaries. And you need to complete the beneficiary nomination. So what I'll do, I'll organize with Mpasi to send you the forms, the onboarding forms. With the onboarding forms, I'll include the funeral, the voluntary funeral benefit option. Complete those forms, and they have to be uploaded on Ask HR, but for this group, I'll try and assist. So complete the onboarding forms, send them back to me. Same as if you are married and you want to change your option, on the onboarding form, you'll change it to package 1 or package 2, whichever one that is applicable to you. Send them back to me. And there's also beneficiary nomination forms. Please complete the beneficiary nomination form to know that should anything happen to me, these are the people that you need to be talking to. I want my money to go towards my child or towards my parents. If your child is a minor, there is an option. You can still nominate them and say 100% to this child of mine, name and date of birth. We put it in a beneficiary fund. So the beneficiary fund, that lump sum, that 700,000 times 3, it will be paid into a beneficiary fund. Maybe your parents or the surviving parent will be the guardian of the child. So if they need any money, they will just there's a communication with the beneficiary fund and say, okay, the child is going to school. Obviously, we'll cover education benefit. But if they need over and above the education benefit, they'll say, we need extra for school. We need 20,000 for extra this. We need another 10,000 for this. So there is a way of getting money from the beneficiary fund. And in that way, then you're able to, the money gets invested for the child. When the child turns 18, then it pays out to say, yes, your mom, your father left you this money, and this is the benefit that is due to you. So if you can just go up in the 1 minute, just to just go to the first one, then then I'll just summarize. Yeah, just the next slide. Next slide. In summary, yes, Salam and Vodacom Live. Next slide. Provident Fund, there's also what we call the Provident Fund. There's Pension Fund and Provident Fund. But up until February 2021, the Provident Fund and Pension Fund are all the same. The way they pay out, they're all the same. But before that time, when you get to retirement, Pension Fund, you're not allowed to take all of it and do as you please with it. You are limited to taking only 1/3 of that, and 2/3 of that you have to buy an income and receive it as a monthly income. Provident Fund, on the other hand, people had an option to just take all of it and do as they please with it. Let's say you've got 1.5 million when you get to retirement. Pension Fund, you're only allowed to take 500,000. 1 million, you have to invest it and receive it as an income in South Africa. Provident Fund, on the other hand, you are able to take that full 1.5 million, but it gets taxed. then you do as you please with it. But people are not that responsible. They go and spend all the money. Only then they want to build a house. Only then they want to buy children clothes. At that time, it's too late. That is money that you need to live with or off during your retirement. So the law changed and said people actually squander the provident fund money. So we've changed them to be like pension funds. So you're only allowed to take 500,000 free. The 1 million, you have to reinvest it and receive it as an income. Some of you might have you will experience it with your parents when they go on pension and they get to be told these options. Just the last one quickly, just to summarize. That's Provident Fund again. Next. These are the portfolios that you choose. How your money is invested. So your pension fund gets invested. So don't worry about what's happening to my money when it gets deducted from my salary. We've got your Allen Grays, your Investex, your Prudential's investment management companies that actually manages these monies. The default that we put you on, it's Wealth Creator. As a young person, you will be in a little bit high exposure in equities and less on cash. Cash is like low risk, but low returns. Just next slide. These are all the companies that we have on the pension fund where our Vodacom employees' money is invested with. Just the next slide. Yeah, these are other asset managers. Next slide. These are the fees that you pay on the pension fund. And as I said, in a group scheme, the fees are way cheaper to belong to compared to a retirement annuity out there. If you have questions on this one, you're welcome to send me an email. Next slide. I'll send you these links if you need to view your pension statement. At any time, you're able to see it there. You don't have to wait for your statement to be sent to you. Next slide. And this is the fund website where you'll be able to view your pension statement. Next slide. Pension-backed housing loan, this will not really apply for you, but basically what it means is you can loan against your pension fund. Whatever you have accumulated in your pension fund, you can actually loan against it. But this is after you've been in the fund like 3 or 4 years in the fund, that where you've accumulated some money in the pension fund, where instead of saying, you know, I want to buy a house, you can actually loan against your pension fund. Let's say you have 1 million in the pension fund. The 1 million stays intact there, but Standard Bank will give you a loan, which you pay back to Standard Bank only when you leave the employer. Then they will say, let's take whatever it's still outstanding and settle it from the pension fund. Next slide. Yeah, and then that's risk benefits. Next slide. Yeah, these are the options. The next slide, you can change them at any time. I'll send you the onboarding forms. That's where you'll be able to select the options there. Are there other questions? Maybe you can just leave it here and let's get questions. On the packages, when it says, okay, I've already answered the 3 times, is there a way we can get hold of these slides? Yes, Mpasi will send you the slides. I'm sending you my email address here. And she will send them with the onboarding forms. Any other questions?
Thank you, Tisha. Thank you, Tisha. I think there are no more questions from the audience. Thank you for taking the time to come and take us through this critical information that, we all need to know, and our new starters also very much need to know. Thank you for today. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Tisha. To the audience, I saw there were a couple of questions regarding medical aids. Candace Singh is the contact person with regards to that. Unfortunately, she couldn't be with us this week. However, she will be in touch with you from next week. We have Carlin, who will be taking us through the performance development. Let's welcome Carlin on the stage.
Hi, Mpasi. Hi, Discover Graduate Class of 2023.
Morning, Karen.
Congratulations. Hi.
Morning this morning.
Congratulations. I'm well. I'm well. I think there's a bit of a lag. Sorry, that's why I'm speaking over you. But I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well, thank you, Colin. Sure,
Okay,
let's
cool.
give the stage to you.
Okay, so do I just okay. Hi, Discover Graduate Class of 2023. First of all, a huge congratulations to everybody who made it to the program. Your journey officially starts this month. I understand that quite a bit of you were interns prior to joining the Discover Grad program, so you guys are not unfamiliar with Vodacom and some of our processes. However, this speedy process you would be a little bit unfamiliar with because usually interns are not required to fulfill the obligations of a normal employee. So I'm Colin. I am a specialist talent and performance. I work in the talent and capability team, and so I form part of a subset that manages talent within Vodacom. So before I continue, I understand that you guys cannot unmute, but I would really like to keep this session as interactive as possible. So can you please quickly type in the chat what you guys understand about performance development and what it is, and then also what do you expect to hear from this conversation. So when performance development comes pops into your head, what is it that you want to know or understand, so that maybe I can address those questions as I go on with my presentation. So quickly, it's 11:38, so I'm going to give you guys until 11:40. So what is performance development, and what would you like to know regarding performance development from me in this quick slot that we have today? Anybody? Mm-mm-mm.
Colin, are you able to share your slides, please, so that the audience can see?
Hey?
Would you be able to please share your slides?
Yes, I know, but before I do that, I just want employees to tell. I mean,
100%.
yeah. So I don't see anything coming through in the chat. So maybe
Can you
am
give
I?
them just a few seconds
Are
as
they
they're all
shy?
typing away?
Okay,
Give
cool.
them just a few seconds. Thanks.
Okay, so I see these questions coming through now. 11th, how does PD scoring affect my pay? Are we required to complete the performance development? One indices are used to measure PD. Okay, good questions. Okay, so um, this is my agenda. So this is what I will be discussing with you guys today. We'll get back to the pay part. So I will just be discussing what performance development is, who the career development stakeholders are for you guys, who the career, how to have career conversations, goal setting, performance development principles, and then I will conclude. So just a little bit of background on me. I used to be an intern at Vodacom as well. I was an intern for 2 years, and then I went on to be a Discover graduate, and now I'm a specialist. So I started in Vodacom in 2018, and every 2 years I have progressed essentially in my career. Um, So I was level progressed after my Discover graduate program. I was in my team for another year, and then I recently got another role change to talent and performance specialist. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because I was thinking about what do I want to tell you guys today, because the performance development process is quite straightforward, and you can access all of the materials on Grow with Vodacom. But that isn't what's going to help you or what's going to be important for your career development, essentially. And another question I would like to ask, and please pop the answer in the chat. So I see you guys are quite interactive. Is what do you understand in terms of your performance development and your career progression? What is your goal, or what should be your goal after the 2 years? What do you want to achieve after this 2 years is done? Like, where do you see yourself? Because I understand that the process of the Discover graduate program has been explained to you. So what do you believe is your goal, purely from a performance development perspective, and where you want to be? What is your goal for the next 2 years? Okay, cool. So as you guys are popping that into the chat, so what is performance development? So performance development is an ongoing process that enables two-way conversations, addressing goal setting, development planning, ongoing coaching, and feedback, and then performance reviews. So that is quite a mouthful, and basically what performance development basically is it's a cycle that explains how an employee is developed, or how an employee's career is developed over time. Over time is usually a year, because each performance development cycle runs for a year within Vodacom, right? Um, and when you look at how it's broken up, there's in each quarter there's 4 quarters. So quarter one is April, June, May, June, and then quarter two is July, August, September, and currently you'll see we are in quarter four, January, February, and March, right? So I'm going to come back to this a little later. But the important thing here to note is that you guys have landed in the business in February, which means that for this performance development cycle, you are considered too early to rate. So that means that you guys won't be rated, or the performance development indices won't apply to you for this fiscal. So this fiscal ends March 2023, and then the new cycle will start in April, which will be important to you. And that is what I want to address in this presentation, right? Um, so performance development is essentially career development, right? So the two can be used interchangeably, because PD and career development describes, how you develop and grow within your career within an organization, right? And the one thing, because out of experience, so what happens usually is, you are a Discover graduate, and so how the program usually works is that after this 2 years, you are up for level progression, right? Everybody explains that to you guys, so you are on the band now. Level progression is obviously when if the scope of your role changes. So if you are now currently performing on a certain level, or level higher than what your particular role is, you get level progressed. So you jump a band, and obviously it's almost like a promotion, but not quite, right? But when I asked you what is your goal, so if we talk purely performance, if we talk purely salary, your goal should be to be level progress. So after the 2 years, um, they look at you, they say, Colin is doing this, that, and that. She's performing at a much higher level, than what she was when she initially joined the business. And so HR, your line manager, will assess where your performance is at, and then you will possibly be level progressed, but it's not a guarantee, right? But what often happens is with Discover grads, and I'm speaking of experience, so many graduates. I ended in cohort 2020, and I mean, to this day, so many graduates have not been level progressed. And there's various things that affects that. But one of the biggest, reasons is how you guys have your career conversations with your managers, how you set your goals. Are you clear on your goals? um how you have those discussions with your managers. Do you think about your career aspirations, and do you plan them out? Because what happens is you guys rotate through the business, and that sort of creates all this noise, and it gets lost um, in translation, essentially, because after the 2 years, a lot of grads are like, what was I doing? um, or the complaint is, that my manager, isn't recognizing me, etc. And when after the 2 years, it's too late. So I really want to reiterate that you guys need to start having these conversations with your managers now, right? So when you look at your career development stakeholders, it's your manager, it's you, and then it's also Vodacom, right? So your manager's role is to guide you, to coach you, to give you feedback, um, in the moment, real time feedback on how you are doing within your specified role. Your role is to set your goals, have the conversation with your manager. And when I say set your goals and have your conversations, you need to be as specific as possible, right? So goal setting starts in April, right? So what you need to do now is, and we'll cover this on the next slide, you really need to think about, what is my goal after this 2 years, right? And bring it up with your manager immediately. Because there's two parts. There's development goals and there's performance goals, but we'll get to that. And then what is Vodacom's role in your career? So Vodacom is here to support your career. So how do we do that? We do that through bursaries that we offer. You had the employment benefits team before this. We do that through the employee value proposition that we offer. Um, and all those benefits that we offer, we do it through keeping you safe, health and safety. So when all of this comes together, you have this cycle or this plan, but ultimately you are in control of your performance development. Okay, at the end of the 2 years, you cannot say, my manager never had a PD discussion with me, because performance development is not a passive process, it's an active process, and you need to actively engage with it. And so my goal today is merely to initiate this conversation with you, and to give you best practices for how you actively engage in your own career development throughout these 2 years, because I don't want you to wake up after 2 years and then you're saying, but I do all this work, why am I not level progressed, what did I do wrong, etc., etc. Okay, so the performance development cycle starts in April, right? And it starts with goal setting. So I'm just going to go up a little bit. So Q1, right? April, May, June. This is when employees and managers discuss and prioritize given the business context. So this is where you essentially create your goals, right? So the first thing you need to do, and what I'm speaking about now, is reflect. Where am I now? You guys are currently at the beginning of your Discover Graduate program. Where do I want to be? So given at the end of this year, given everything that needs to happen, where do you see yourself within the next year or even within the 2 years, right? What are your career drivers? So someone in the chat asked, how does impact, how does performance interact with my salary? So remember, some of us are extrinsically motivated and some of us are intrinsically motivated. So you need to understand, what is your career drivers? What drives me? Is it salary? Is it promotion? Is it being valued by my boss? Is it receiving recognition for the work that I do? Because that will determine and would also set the basis of your relationship with your manager and with Vodacom. Okay, you get employees that don't need to be recognized. Um, they don't need to have the conversation. All they want to do is get money, come to work, get money and go. If that is your career drivers, then you need to understand that if you are the type of person, I am the type of person that recognition is a big thing for me. So if I'm doing work and I'm not recognized for it, I get demoralized. So those are the kinds of conversations you need to have with your managers to ensure that they know what your career drivers are and can reward you accordingly. And then also, what are your career aspirations? My goal was clear. Okay, I said after the Discover graduate, I want to be level progressed, right? What do I have to do to get there? So think about that. And then also find your why. And this is very important. Guys, this process is not easy. For those of you who were interns, you would have had a glimpse of it. It's not easy to be new in the business. It's not easy to be the junior in the business. You are going to get a lot of pushback. Um, there's also a lot of talk about, graduate entitlement, etc. And so a lot of you really need to, you need to earn your stripes. That being said, you also need to understand who you are and you need to find your why. Why am I here? So before, and just to give you an example, before I was in HR business partnering, and it's a strategic role and it has to do with budgets, etc., etc. And then I moved into learning and development, right? And this is where I really found my why. Why do I've always wanted to be in HR, and my why is that I want to help employees. And so there will be parts or areas in this business that is better suited to your why. Um and if you can find those spots, your job will be so much better and you will be so much happier in the organization. So these are the things that you need to reflect on now before April. Right. So the second part is you need to assess your skills, your strengths, your behaviors. What do I need to develop? Right. So one of my, as an intern, if you, a lot of you were interns before, and so you would have feedback. The feedback that I used to receive when I was an intern was, Colin, you need to be softer. Because apparently the way I spoke and the way I addressed people was very confrontational. And so how I communicated was my development area. So try to get a sense, write down your skills, write down what you do really well. I do reporting really well. No one can come for me in an Excel sheet, but I also needed to work on my communication. So understand what your development areas are and don't over focus on them. So one of the mistakes I made was, and this goes back to finding your why. You need to understand that you guys are in this business, and as your career develops, so will you. And people are going to tell you who you are. And for a long time, my development area was always, you need to be softer, Colin. You are angry. Don't be so confrontational. And I didn't think I was confrontational, but that's how people viewed me. And there are things that you can change about yourself, and there are things that you won't be able to change about yourself. So I fairness is important to me, and so if I perceive something to be unfair, I'm going to address it immediately, regardless of my reporting lines. And so I needed to learn that there's a time and a place, and that I can address things in a certain way. That was my development area. But also, I am who I am, and not addressing things really affects the way I show up in my personal life and professionally. So when you find your why and you understand who you are, it will be easier to embark on this process and to have a constructive discussion with your manager about, what can I change, what can't I change, and why do I do or show up the way that I do. The third thing is you need to plan, right? So now you've assessed your skills, etc. So you tell yourself, like, I'm currently in a tech team, but I'm really good at automating. I'm really good at coding, right? So I want to have some time or rotate in an AI team, or a team that does automations, or the Toby team. So now you plan, how do I do that? Is there a way to explore this within my team? So you always start within your team. You find out what your team members are doing. Oh, I like what Kyle is doing. I would like to spend some time to shadow Kyle. You explore your career, your options in your functional area, so beyond your team, right? So there's your team, but then you have your functional area. So my functional area is talent and capability, right? So now I say, oh, I like leadership development. I really want to see what they are about. Maybe I can spend some time there, right? And then you explore future roles. So you look at the business and you say, oh, I want to be an HR EOD. And so you look at those roles and you look at those job specs, and you try to find out, what would it take? What do I need to do to get there? Right? So you plan your career in that way. I want to reiterate, it's also important to understand how business works, okay? Because you come into the graduate program and you want to rotate and you want to do all these things and you think that you would have the opportunity, but the reality is that a lot of us do real work and we fill real gaps, and we are really needed within our teams. And when you plan your career, you need to be smart. You can see what's going on in your team. If you are really needed and you are a critical part of that team, you need to think, how can I continue supporting my team but still get the development that I want and need. So an example would be, instead of rotating completely out of your team, you discuss with your manager and you say, if I can finish my deliverables within the first 4 days of the week, and I spend 1 week with that team, as an example, and then you can build up your exposure like that, instead of just leaving the team and having this big fight about headcount, etc., etc. And then the fourth part of your career conversation is doing. Right. So when we talk about career development, you'll see that I said there's 70% is workplace experience, 20% is people influence, and 10% is structured experiences. So a lot of employees think that, when we talk about development, it means you need to go on a course. You don't need to go on a course always. Most of my development happened through feedback and coaching. So structured experiences only account for 10% of development. um, Workplace experience accounts for 70%, and that refers to the relationships you have with your colleagues, the relationship you have with your manager, and it's very important, for you to cultivate that relationship by landing this conversation properly and really playing an active role in your own career. Okay, so goal setting. So this is one of the big things. So one of the questions were, are we required to complete the performance development? Yes, you are officially a permanent employee. And come April, you will need to load your goals onto the system. I'm going to ask Mpasi to have a separate call so that I can show you guys in real time how to access the platforms, how to load your goals, how to capture achievements, etc. We won't be able to do that today, but there are two types of goals that you will be required to load, right? So it's going to be your performance goals and it's going to be your development goals. Okay, so your performance goals is related to your job and what you want to accomplish each quarter across the year, right? So this has to do with your role, and it also comes down from your manager, right? So this is the conversation you are going to have with your manager, and what usually happens is there's a cascade, right? So Shamil sets his goals and he passes them down to his chiefs, right? And then the chief sets their goals and they pass it down to the MEs, and then the MEs and ERs, etc., etc. So your boss will have goals, and your goals, your performance goals, will be related to what your boss and his boss and her boss is trying to achieve. So it's sort of like um an upward cascade, and it feeds into that, right? So what do you need to deliver, and how will you know if you delivered it, right? So practical example, I am talent and performance specialist, and one of the things that I need to deliver is I need to make sure that each employee in Vodacom South Africa have goals loaded onto the system, right? So that is a performance goal for me. 100% goal completion for VSA, right? So how do I deliver that? Okay, I track, and then I also I communicate with HRBPs. So I send a message to the HRBP technology. I say goal completion for your area is 50%, right? Um, that's the how. It should be aligned to Vodacom's strategy. So our strategy is, growth, simplicity, and setting goals and achieving them is aligned to that. And then it should reflect your role and priorities, and it needs to reinforce the spirit of Vodafone through actions and behaviors, right? So think about it this way: performance goals is related directly to the work that you do. So you and your manager will sit, you will come up with your goals, and you will need to deliver that for the year. That is also related to your performance rating. Someone asked here, PD is measuring an employee's performance against department defined KPIs. That's correct. And then it's also, someone also asked if it's related to your salary, and it is. And we'll get to that a little later. But performance goals related to your actual job and the task that you do on a daily basis. Then you have your development goals. So your development goals is used to improve your individual capabilities and skills through learning, right? So development goals are, I want to be able to code, because coding will help me automate a lot of my processes or my team's processes, and that will make us work more efficiently. So development goals is related to how you develop yourself as an employee, but it ultimately improves your job performance. So I hope you understand that. So it's like, for instance, my development goals was I needed to communicate better. So the way I was communicating before, you know meant that I wasn't getting engagement and the support that I needed from my team, because instead of collaborating effectively, I was offending people. And so that sort of like meant that people didn't want to work with me, and my job suffered. When my communication skills increase and I learn how to collaborate with people, I am able to perform my job better and get things done quicker, which improves efficiency and performance. So that's the difference, and you will need to have both. And so that is why this is so important, because you need to think about, how am I going to develop myself in order to achieve my career goals, in the specified time that I allocated. Do I still have time? So I know I started like super late. So I just want an indication, Pasi. How much time do I still have? Okay. When you set your goals, this is very, very important. And I'm gonna go here. So before I go there, someone asked about the ratings, right? So in a performance development cycle, at the end of the year, you get rated, right? And these are usually the ratings. So you can either be a top performer, or you are just performance review completed, which means that you have done what you were supposed to do. Um, so you're neither outstanding, but you're also not a bad performer. You've done what you're supposed to do. You've achieved all your goals, right? And then the next rating is a mover, right? So there's top talent, there's top performer, and then there's a mover, right? And then there's PRC. So when you are a top performer, okay, it means that relative to others. So a lot of employees get this wrong. Top performer has to do with your performance goals, right? So remember, your performance goals is related to your role, right? Your performance rating is also related to your role and how well you did in comparison to others in your team, right? So remember that when you are in a team, your jobs are almost or the same. They are relatively the same. Or rather the outputs are the same. And so when your manager measures your performance, your manager is going to measure your performance according to the goals that the two of you set together. But they are also going to rate you in relation to how you perform to your colleagues. So in order to determine if you are a top performer, okay, the sales target was 100 million, ne? That was the sales target. So everybody in the team has their sales targets. Colin achieves 100 million. What does that mean? I have done what that was my goal. I did it. So it's neither top performing, it's I did what I was supposed to do, so PRC. But Shane, achieved 120 million sales. What does that mean? It means that Shane outperformed his goal or what he was supposed to do. And so that means that Shane is, higher than me. But Chanel, Chanel had 130 million worth of sales. So Chanel had the most sales and therefore she's the top performer. So how you need to think of this is that everybody, Colin, Shane and Chanel, everybody performed, right? But when you rank the performance in the team, Chanel achieved 130 million sales and therefore she's the top performer. So just because you are performing and just because you are performing excellently doesn't always mean that you are the top performer in the team. And so that is something that you also need to keep in mind when having your performance review discussions with your manager, right? And then if I had 80 million sales and the goal was 100 million, I didn't perform. So I didn't meet, or do what I was supposed to do. And so obviously that is just one simple example, but all of your goals are taken into consideration like that, and that is how you achieve your performance rating, right? And so if you are a mover, it just means that you might be in the wrong team. It means that you have to discuss these things with your manager, and this is also why it's important. So throughout the year, if we go back, right? So in April, May, June, you agree on your goals with your manager. In July, August, September, there's a quarterly check-in. Okay, and this means that your priorities are reviewed, so your goals are reviewed, and your achievements are also checked, right? So your manager basically in the session, your manager checks, if you're doing what you are supposed to be doing, if your performance is on track. If your performance is not on track, it will be highlighted here. If you are struggling, you need to communicate that with your manager. If you need additional assistance, you need to communicate that with your manager. Also, Very important. I cannot tell you how many employees go a full year without having the conversation with their manager. They come to the end of the year. There's been no dialogue between manager and employee. They are rated a mover or a poor performer, and then they say, but my manager never told me that I was a poor performer, etc., etc. So it's very important, and this is why don't ignore emails from talent and capability or me, okay? Because throughout the year I will prompt you, and we will say it's time to have your quarterly check-in. There's nothing stopping you from setting up a meeting with your manager. Hi, Leon. It is, we are in quarter four. According to talent and capability, it is now time for our quarterly review and check-in. I'm setting up 45 minutes with you so that we can have this, okay? You set it up yourself, okay? If your manager doesn't accept, it's unlikely that your manager won't accept, but, that is how you actively engage your manager, because they're busy. Sometimes they forget, sometimes they feel that it's not necessary. And then you ask when you have these conversations, are you happy with my performance? Is there anything that I can do better? My career aspiration is to be a top performer this year. What do I need to do, to be a top performer? What do I need to do to be top talent? And you record those things. And if your manager is giving you great feedback, your manager saying, oh no, you're a star, etc., etc., okay, do not take that as face value. Okay, ask your manager. So you jot down the notes, you send your manager an email, you say, based on our performance review discussion, you've given me the following feedback, and you confirm via email. Or you ask him to record it on your talent profile. Very important, right? So where are we? So those are your performance goals, right? And then top talent. Okay, so this is your second. So there's a potential rating and there's a performance rating, right? So write that down: potential and performance. Performance is related to your job. Your potential has to do with what is your potential to move into future roles or management roles, right? So what that means is potential has nothing to do with performance, right? So potential or talent has to do with, Colin possesses certain managerial qualities. And if Colin is developed in the future, she could be a manager. So what we have is we have our potential model, right? So managers use that. So at the end of the year, we do talent ratings, right? So all the managers in the department sit around and they say, I'm nominating Colin as top talent, and I'm nominating her because she demonstrates learning agility. She demonstrates these agilities within the potential model. So there's a model, and those action packs are all available on Grow with Vodacom. And so we will have a follow-up session because I'm going to show you exactly where to find and how to prepare for these conversations. But basically, if you are top talent, it means that you've been identified to have the potential to move into a management role one day. And so, the business wants to develop you and cultivate that potential. So there's top talent, and then there's top performer, and then there's just PRC and mover. What you do not want to be is a mover. So someone asked me, does this affect does your rating affect your salary? And the answer is yes. So if you are a mover or a poor performer, you don't get a bonus. And I'm sure you don't want to not get a bonus. Also, your increase is less than what it usually would be. If you are a top performer, there are benefits to that as well. There are certain rewards and awards, monetary, that you get as being a top performer. And if you are top talent, you are also earmarked for certain programs. So those are the ones that you guys want to aim for. So I'm going to go back now. So those are your ratings. And just to reiterate, performance. So your performance goals is related to your job, which means that when you set your performance goals, you need to use the SMART tool, and I'm sure you all know what SMART goals are. They need to be specific, they need to be measurable, they need to be achievable, they need to be realistic, and it needs to be time specific. So if your goal is, you need to up sales by 30% within quarter one. So what is it specific? You need to up sales by 30%. Measurable, you can measure. So I mean, if your goals were, you can measure if it's up by 30%. It needs to be achievable, so not unrealistic. So your manager cannot give you a goal to say, you need to double sales or you need to triple sales, within 3 months, because that is unachievable. So make sure that your goals are achievable, and then it needs to be realistic and time specific. So usually goals, like I said, the performance cycle runs for a year, is broken up to 3 quarters. So you need to ask when you have these conversations with your manager, by when. So for me, in a performance cycle, everybody needs goals. 100% goal completion by quarter four. That's my goal that I need to achieve, right? If I achieve 90%, and I need to then prove, I've done everything that I can. I've communicated, I've sent emails, etc. If you prove that you've done everything that you can and you've still not achieved your goal, it doesn't mean that you are necessarily a poor performer. Cool. And then, I think I've answered everything. Maintaining high performance or improve their performance. I don't know what that means. My question is, if we are going to have rotations, then how do the PEDs impact as we go across a rotation? So this is a good point, right? A good question. So just because you are rotating doesn't mean, the only thing that happens is your manager needs to, obviously, where you are rotating, needs to give you feedback on that rotation. Mpasi has joined us, so I think my time is up. Is my time up, Mpasi?
Yes, unfortunately, we need to end it here, Colin. Thank you so much.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I think we can have a further discussion online, if possible. I can schedule something for next week so that we can finish off this discussion, as
Yes.
I think it's very
Yes.
important for the grads to know. Yeah, so if
Yeah,
that's fine,
so
thank you so much for taking the time. Yes, sorry.
okay, no problem. Yeah, so please schedule a follow-up session, and preferably on Teams, so that we can have a live chat, and then also so that I can take employees through the demos and the forms that they need to complete, etc. And then yeah, we'll continue this conversation. But think I've answered most of the questions in the
Yeah.
live Q&A.
So
Enjoy the rest
so
of your
yes.
orientation.
Thank you so much,
Cool.
Colin. Thank you. Enjoy the
Bye.
rest of your day. Bye. So to the rest of the audience, please kindly expect a meeting invite for next week so we can finish off this chat, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. So this is where we end our day today, and I wish everyone a very good spirit day. Hope you enjoy your day, everyone. Thank you. Bye.